This is the Dempsey family, where I was taken when I was kidnapped in early summer of 41. This is me, I don't know, a few years later. And the family was dressed up. It was horrible. They were so poor, but they brutalized me. And they had connections. I later obtained copies of their ties back to the Freemasons, both sides. And this is the grandmother. The twins were murdered I was taken to Moulton, Alabama, that's here, and it was a piece of a farm, and Lina Dempsey was unwed, and she had the twins, Peggy and Carl Dempsey, and she killed them. And I was taken there in early 41 at age 2, given the name of the twin Peggy that was murdered. Both twins were dead. And this woman, the grandmother, swore the daughters to the family to secrecy, to not tell about my kidnapping. So now I want to go to, this is my dad, Edward VIII, who married Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, my mom's sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. Now then, my dad never married Wallis Simpson. A double did. And I want to show the picture here. She was friends of Roosevelt, who helped kidnap me. This is Mrs. Roosevelt. They're together. Let's see, right here. That's Wallis Simpson and Mrs. Eleanor Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I'm sorry I'm showing my bed. I don't get to live my life. She did. Okay, this is Larry Flint, who was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I was writing about mind control and programming, and he was shot. And he was one of them that they were programmed to shoot him and kill his attorney. Later, he endorsed me when I ran in a campaign in April of 84 is when that endorsement was. But really, what I wanted to mention here was I showed the picture of, this is the male, Matthew, the only male in the family, boy. The 6 girls or 7. I'm going to turn it around here, and I know this is not made very well, but it's best I can do right at the moment. What I wanted to say about it was that Matthew, the one I showed you, was Master Sergeant in the Army, and he made that a career. And I can remember when I was, I don't know, I must have been maybe about, I don't know when he took that picture, about 5 years old. He came home from the Army. I can't remember the age. I was small. And he made a short movie of me, had the camera and everything. And I never saw it after then. I remember him taking it. And later, he was at the home of Irvin and Tressie Nix. Now, Tressie, I'm going to show you her. Irvin's standing. He would be the son-in-law to the Dempseys. And this one is Matthew here, and that's Irvin Nix, and that's his wife, Tressie, one of the sisters. Now then, what happened there a few years after then, I don't know. I don't remember. I know I was probably in about the 5th grade, so I can't remember. But I remember going to Tressie and Irvin Nix's home, and it was on the highway coming from Moulton going to Cortland, Alabama. And before you get to Cortland, you turn off and go to the farm where they took me, if you call it a farm. It was a hellhole. But that's where the Nixes had rented a little house there. And I remember going there because Matthew and Marie, his wife, were home. And we met there at Irvin and Tressie's, which is Matthew's sister, Tressie is. And Matthew had the film that he had made, the picture of me, and what he said, he showed it. I remember seeing it, and he showed it, and he said that when he was in, I don't know if he was in Japan, I can't remember, but it was that I get a meeting and everything, and when he showed the picture, for some reason, the film, and the Japanese wanted him to come in the back, and they talked to him and saw the film, and they asked him where he got it and about me, etc. Now then, the film was later destroyed after I saw it. And this, I'll say, I know that the Japanese tried to help in getting me returned after my kidnapping. And I know that the Dempseys made a comment, and subconsciously, I always knew my name and everything. But they made the comment, here I am standing there being abused. And the day I was born Victoria II, heir to the British Crown. My dad didn't even marry Wallis Simpson. He was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. So it was a plot and a takedown of my father. And there was an addendum to the forced abdication that was all legal, the addendum, that if an heir born, the heir would be the king or queen, the monarch. And the day I was born, the minute I was born, I was heir to the British throne. And my father would have come back as guardian or power of attorney. So therefore, his own brother, illegal George VI, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers, the Jews, and the Kennedys. Joe Kennedy was ambassador, and JFK, his son, and Joe helped kidnap me. They flew in there, and I was brought to Moulton, Alabama, near Cortland Air Base that had just been opened during the war. And I grew up horrible. The beatings and the horrifying things that happened to me. And then even when I finished high school, it was ongoing crimes committed against me. And then when my sons Mark and Scott were born, you should know, the world should, what really happened to us. It never stopped, and none have paid for their crimes. And I guess today, there's not anybody that doesn't know about it. The media is controlled by the Rockefellers and Rothschilds that kidnapped me. The War Tribunal is controlled by them. And then after they kidnapped me, and the illegal treaties that the illegal George VI and Elizabeth signed, that allowed the United States to come in and invade and take over Great Britain after they'd kidnapped me, mind you, in 1941, that allowed the United Nations, and that's just the really like a home base for the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Rockefeller Plaza that controls your medias there in New York, the Freemasons' home bases in New York, and the United Nations and the World Health Organization. So the global government, the Illuminati, is already in place, but they never stopped using me. And what I wanted to get out here again was the United States, the crimes that are so atrocious they've done to me and my kids, but to my country, claiming to be friends of my country when they held them hostage. The United States took over Great Britain, is exactly what they did. They got an Area 51 in Australia. Just look at it. What used to be colonies under the guise of freedom, the United States and the New World Order, your global government, has taken it all. So where it ends, I don't know. But it's all they'd have to do is show the world what they've done to us. And I think it would be fed up. The world would. They wouldn't like it. But my point is the Japanese. Look at what today, and I could go into a lot of this, but they've kept me homeless and a pauper is exactly what they've done. The day I was born one of the wealthiest women, if not in the world. So they kidnapped me, and look what they did to me. I hope everyone has to, and to my sons, and to Great Britain, and my mom and dad, most of all, a beautiful lady and man, my father, the king. They were talking today, though. I walked from off of the Appalachian Trail some years ago when I first came to Roanoke, and my mom and dad were still alive then. The double that married Wallis Simpson, and they became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor, died in 1972. My mom and dad were still alive October of 86 when I came to Roanoke. That's for sure. So when I listen today to the veterans, why weren't they there for me? If they believe in freedom and all this so much, which is what they're using on Channel 7 today, I was listening to one being interviewed from Martinsville. That's where I walked off the mountain in patent shoes, no socks or anything. You should know what the degree of weather is on Christmas Eve. I started out walking to have a place to be.